Like we were together all the time doing something with music.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I definitely missed that with him. But we used to sing together. Our parents would make us like do the little harmony songs together when company would come over, like, come, God, come sing. Like, oh God. Okay.
Y'all got that too, huh?
We got that too, yeah. And if it wasn't all of us, if we were out somewhere, oh, Karen, come sing a song real quick. I'm like, okay.
I think that ties into why when they called you up to sing in the choir, you're like,
again,
okay.
everywhere. Like, can I get a break? And then my cousin, I have a cousin, Ricky, who every time I would sing, he says, if I hear Amazing Grace one more time, like, if I sing it one more time, dude, it's not just you feeling that way. So that's our joke. Whenever I see him now, he's like, did you sing Amazing Grace today? I'm like, no, Smarty.
Ricky been shady, huh?
Been shady.
I love it.
Yeah. So those are, yeah. Wow. That is funny to think about.
Welcome to another incredible episode of Music and Nostalgia. I am super excited, beyond words right now, for you all joining us today. And I'm more excited because I have a young lady that I've admired for almost 2 decades. And I've been so fortunate to be in the space with her through business and through just social activities and stuff. She hails from the Maryland area, or DMV, for those of you guys that are familiar. And we get the good fortune of learning a little bit about Miss Karen Beverly. Karen, welcome to the show. It's so weird. Wait, Miss Beverly. It's so weird saying Karen. Miss Beverly.
Say Karen, please. And I'm humbled. I'm so honored that you even thought to ask me to be on your amazing podcast. I was waiting for the call.
Listen, I kept biding my time. Like, I want to make sure I'm prepared because I know you are just full of gems and really, I just know you're such a family-oriented person, so down to earth and so willing to serve so many people that I knew it was just a matter of time before we get together. So thank you for joining me. How's it up there? How's it going up there in the Maryland area right now?
Well, it's wonderful today. It's like 70 degrees. So I didn't have a jacket. Yeah, I'm finally like, the weather's breaking. The world's not coming to an end. We can like hang out now.
Yeah, so. Indeed. So yeah, just for a little bit of information on you, you're a mom. Mm-hmm. You're also a dog mom because, Flash was just running around a second ago, right?
The squeaky toy I had to take from him, right? But I'm also a grandma now.
Yes, I wanted to get to that. I'm so glad. So how old is he now?
He is 6 months now. It's time.
Oh, it's
flying by. I know. I have a son.
Felt like just 2 weeks ago.
Weird. I know. It's weird to have like a growing family. I can't believe my daughter's married and doing these adult things. It's really weird.
Yeah, it's super, super amazing. And it's weird because, again, seeing that I've known you for about 17 years, it's amazing to see how as I've grown in business, I've really, you've been one of my mentors, one of those that has always led from the front. So it's really excited to have you on here on my episode with Music and Nostalgia. So yes. So can I tell you the first memory I have of you first? Let me start there.
Of course.
I know I want to hear your stories, but you have to hear this. I don't know if you know this. My first memory of you was at one of our Team New Vision events. And of course, I'd seen you out and about through the event, but it wasn't until day 2, and you already know, day 2 of the event at the kickoff of the day. And so on the first day, just to give a little context, the first day of the event, we always hear the national anthem for the United States and for Canada because, both countries are represented heavily at the events. But then on day 2, we get to hear one of the most beautiful sounds, which is the Negro National Anthem. And I had heard the song. Now, for those of you that already know, I grew up in Nigeria and I moved here in my high school years. So I'd heard of the song. I'd heard bits and pieces, but never the entire song. But the very first time I heard it from beginning to end with so much passion, love, and attention to every note was when you sang it at the TNV event. I don't even remember if it was New Orleans or if it was probably Washington D.C. I believe. I don't remember. But when you sang it, I remember looking around the room, and there wasn't a person in the room with a blank stare. It was, everybody was so drawn into how well you delivered that song. And I was like, what is this? I was like writing like, okay, go search the entire lyrics to this, because it was so powerful, and you gave it such you did it so much justice in the way you delivered that song. That's my first real memory of you, right?
Wow.
And it was powerful. You know, I don't know, like, I can't wait for day 2 of our events, because I know you're about to give it to us again. And it's so much love in the way you put that together every time.
Yeah, that song, we're talking about nostalgia. Growing up, and I grew up in church. I was forced to be in a choir since I was about 3 years old. I was in the Sunbeam choir. So we had to learn that song, and we had to know the entire song, and we sang it every month, every February, every Sunday in February. So that's been a part of my life, my entire life. So being asked to sing that, as an adult, not having to learn the words, but as an adult to really represent our culture,
yeah,
and our heritage, it's just always an honor. And that's probably where the passion comes from, because it's such an honor to sing that, and to know the words and know what it means to be African-American, so it's wonderful.
Yeah, that it's so touching. And I'm gonna have an ask closer to the end of the show, but what I truly admire about your presence on the stage when you go up to sing is, and I've in recent years I've seen you backstage before you go on stage, and the spirit you have to be the best version of yourself when you present the song is always so evident, and we can see it from backstage. But more importantly, for those of us that just see you on stage, we feel it, right? Because it's not just words for you. It's like Whitney Houston when she sang the national anthem. You felt every note. And so and I never knew that that's something you learned from the tender age of 3, that it developed into something that in your adulthood, you began to bless other people with the message, just in the way you delivered it. So singing is something you've been doing pretty much all your life, huh?
All my life. And of course, started in church and used to drag my feet. If like they would say, Karen, come up and sing Amazing Grace this Sunday. And I'm like, oh my God. And I would get in so much trouble after church. Like, why did you act like that? Even though I would get up and sing it.
Yeah.
But eventually I learned to love it, embrace that was something that I was born to do. Yeah. And, it went from there. It turned into a whole career and a whole thing, from funeral singing to actually professionally singing to choirs to so many things. So it's been a big, huge part of my life, and it's still one of my favorite things to do.
So you just mentioned funeral singing. What does that entail, and how did that come about for you?
Well, so when I was singing professionally and traveling, and then made a decision to, come back home. I had a daughter and I had to get a job. This is one of my jokes in my presentation. I got a job at a funeral home so that I could sing. I know that sounds crazy, but people need that comfort. And it was something, even though it sounds pretty morbid, it was something that was a blessing for families. It was really good money, actually. So I started singing at funerals, and I say it didn't last long. My audience was always dead. I'm kidding, but I sang at a funeral yesterday. It's something that I've always done, and still now, because I worked at 2 different funeral homes. Even though I kind of stepped away from that to build a legal shield business, yeah. I still get referrals. When I say all the time, I sang at a funeral last week and then sang at a funeral yesterday, just from families saying, "Hey, who was that person that sang at cousin so-and-so service, can they come sing today? So
Wow.
that's how
So,
it started. I had a friend who was a mortician who they needed someone and they hired me as their funeral singer.
so in the times that you've done funerals, where you've sang at funerals, have you ever felt like, whoa, this singing thing is way bigger than I imagined it to be, as far as the journey, depending on the path that one takes, because you said you travel professionally for a bit as a musician, but is it something that took you like, whoa, I didn't expect this side of it to actually be gratifying?
Absolutely. I would have never said growing up, I want to sing at funerals. You think about singing at weddings, singing at bar mitzvahs, but you don't think about, and you go to funerals, you see people singing, but me as a singer never thought I could do that.
Yeah.
I would want to do that, because again, it's a very sad occasion. It's
Right.
Especially if it's a young person or things like that. But having done it so much for my family, I realized when I was working at the funeral home how much of a blessing it really is. And when you do it with sincerity and with people's comfort in mind, they come to you after and say, oh my gosh, just that moment of you singing made me feel okay, made me feel so comforted. And knowing that you can affect people like that, it's a blessing. So
yeah,
that's how it's stuck for so long,
So I know the times are different because, different generations have different types of music, but is there a common thread, any common songs that would always come up as a request?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So Amazing Grace, Precious Lord, and His Eyes on the Sparrow. If you know those, you too can be a funeral singer.
Well, you got to be able to hold two notes in a bucket.
That's true. But if you sing from the heart, okay.
I've tried.
Anyway, but those would be like the hymns.
Yeah.
That are very common. But then I've had some requests that were very interesting. I recently sang "I Can See Clearly Now, the Rain Is Gone." I can see clearly now that you're gone. People want different things. So
I'm literally going through the lyrics. Like, wait a minute, where's the?
Yeah, that was it was their favorite song. Can you learn this? So I've had all kinds of, not just gospel music. Yeah, all types of songs at a funeral.
Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, I'm sure the stories you could tell just from your experiences.
Like my musician falling asleep during the service and banging on the organ and waking himself up. Mm-hmm. I've got lots of great funerals. We can do a whole podcast on funeral singing.
Come on, listen. I'm here trying to introduce you to the world. Let's go ahead and kick it off for you.
Yeah, we won't go there, but yeah, I've been to 1,000 funerals, I'm sure, and lots of things happen. Families fight.
Oh man.
Happen. Yeah.
Wow. Oh,
I've even sang at a double funeral, 2 caskets and 2 split families. They did not get along. So this side, if you like her, you sit over here. If you like her, you sit. And I'm like, I just want to sing and go. So yeah, it happens. Stuff happens.
Wowzers. You got to switch up for both families on the singing.
For this side, I'm singing this, and this I'm singing to y'all. And it's like when I was singing one song, the family on this side was like this.
The shade.
And I was like, but do I sound okay? Like, dang, I don't know her. I'm just here.
They didn't approve of the song and the other side, so they couldn't approve of you for that song.
And until I switched to their side, then they were like, same girl. I just turned my hat the other way.
Yeah, you know what? It's just Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. That's all it is. We do what we got to do. Give them what they want.
So singing takes you places you would never imagine. Yeah. Yeah. I've sang on a cruise ship. I've done all kinds of funny things.
You have been in the musical world for real. You sang on cruise ships.
Yeah. Yeah. With Kenny Lattimore, as a matter of fact. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm at a loss of words. Kenny Lattimore?
Yeah.
How did that come about?
Just being in the industry, and they were going to be in the area and they were looking for background singers. So oh, call this girl. She'll, she's got a great voice. So I've had lots of opportunities like that. CeCe Peniston was in town, need backup sing. Like little things have just come up because,
that's such a blessing.
You're in the circuit, I guess.
Yeah.
So
right, and it just proves that you have what it takes for them to even call on you. So obviously that's a testament to the vocals that you have.
Sometimes it's a testament to your spirit too, though, because a lot of people can sing.
Talk about
a lot
that.
of people can sing. You know what I mean? So you have to be a person that they want to call, that they know you're going to get along and you're going to be able to work with other singers.
Yeah. So I mean, and I think that's a really huge point to make there, that it's not just about the ability to sing, but what you can bring into the environment when you do sing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's powerful. Now, have you been in any spaces where it seemed like everybody should get along, and then there's this uneven spirit in the mix that just throws everything off for you? Without saying any names, because I'm sure
I was gonna say, but actually not
unless
really.
You want to spill it.
Right. No, actually not really. It's funny because it's almost like that more in church choirs because a lot of times you have divas who, I run this section, and then if you're a new person coming in, or if you're a guest on that Sunday, it's like, ooh, that's my song. I usually sing the solo on that. It's that kind of stuff happens in church. But I have not encountered that in the industry too much.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I was in a singing group, and most girl groups don't get along. We got along.
That's awesome.
We were like sisters. And so if anything were to happen like that, we were like us against the world. It was never a thing where we couldn't figure it out,
Okay. And so when you say you were in a singing group, how many of you guys were in the group, and what kind of group was it?
It was 5 girls. It was so cool. Our name was Tomboy, and it was Karen, Sharon, Shayna, Dana, and Naya.
Karen, Sharon,
Shayna, Dana, and Naya.
Big shout out to all 4 of them, because I know they.
Yeah, we're still friends, and obviously we went our separate ways career wise, and everybody's doing different things, right. But we're still very connected and still talk and sometimes get together we sing when we get together just because.
Hey, I'm okay with an invite if y'all are like, we're gonna be wherever, I'll come through, if it's in the vicinity, I'll come, that'd be awesome. I mean, I've heard you sing, so I mean, if you got ladies that you say, nah, these are my girls, we're like sisters, I'm sure you guys are blowing the roof off of buildings when you sing. So I can't wait to experience that.
All amazing. Yeah. So and we used to sing like at basketball games and national anthem, things like that, and really big fun times. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's dope. So let me pivot a bit before you got to the stage where you were actually singing in lots of spaces. So I'm a dad. I have 2 kids, right? My daughter's 6 and my son is 1, a year and a half, actually. Ooh. One of the things that we love to sing, my daughter particularly loved to sing when she was like 3, 4. Now she's too big. She's 6, she's grown. But we used to love singing 4 Little Monkeys, 4 Little Monkeys jumping on the bed. That whole thing, right?
Yeah.
So little birdie told me that somewhere in your childhood that has something to do, and there might be a story there. So I'm curious, there's the 4 Little Monkeys song have a story for you or a memory?
I thought you were going somewhere else with that.
Yeah, I know. I was going to throw you a loop.
Yeah, I'm that's funny because nothing is resonating right now. Maybe you have to give me a little bit.
Oh yeah. So what I learned is that your mom and your siblings, when it was bedtime, you guys would get together and that would be your nighttime song to wind down. And you, your sister, your late brother, and your mom would engage in that song as a way to shut down for the night. And for some reason, that was something that you were always excited to participate in. Sometimes siblings have a different view of a memory than we do. But I was just curious if that song triggers anything, pulls anything to the forefront of your mind.
Well, I was gonna say, I'm sure I loved it, and I'm sure I probably started with like 10 so that the song would go on longer. I know I didn't start at 4. I'm like, we're doing all the numbers, guys, because that way I didn't have to go to bed, right? But yeah, and I probably was the monkey jumping on the bed and falling every time. So yeah, and we used to, what's so funny, a memory I will say that nostalgia that it brings back is, we were so pressed when we were young. Me and my sister shared a room, and my brother's room, our room was here, and his room was right next door. We got phones that were so we could talk to each other because we were so pressed. And then finally we were like, can he just put a bed in here? Because we wanted to be together so badly.
Oh, that's so precious.
Yeah, after a certain age, it was kind of like, okay, we're done here.
Right, of course.
But when we were that small, we just wanted to be together so badly that they finally just bought these phones. It was so funny, these little clear phones.
Yeah.
So that we could talk back and forth like we weren't right next door to each other. So yeah, that's what those young childhood memories would bring back. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So y'all were phoning it in, huh?
Oh yeah, another song that I would say our childhood songs was the 10 Little Monkeys. And then it was a song about, because it was 3 of us, my mom sang us this song about 3 little fishies. There was 3 little fishies in an itty bitty pool, 3 little fishes and a mama fish too. Swim, said the mama fish, swim if you can. And they swam all over the dam. So that is a song that, yeah, I used to love. It was like a little jazzy kind of.
Yeah, and I was feeling that.
Yeah,
yeah.
My mom she would sing that to us. So that's another one that really would stand out because it was 3 of us. It just, so we're the 3 little fish. We can do anything. We can swim up the stream.
So were you guys musical as a family, or was it that just your thing?
Well, no. So people don't realize that my sister can sing very well. It's just not something she chose to do. And then my brother was a musician. I still have his piano. Uh-huh. He did rap. He did all kinds of music. So that was really me and my brother's, one of our major connections was music. Yeah. Like we were together all the time doing something with music.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I definitely missed that with him. But we used to sing together. Our parents would make us like do the little harmony songs together when company would come over, like, come sing. Like, oh God. Okay.
Y'all got that too, huh?
We got that too, yeah. And if it wasn't all of us, if we were out somewhere, oh, Karen, come sing a song real quick. I'm like, okay.
I think that ties into why when they called you up to sing in the choir, you're like,
again, everywhere. Like, can I get a break? And then my cousin, I have a cousin, Ricky, who every time I would sing, he says, if I hear Amazing Grace one more time, I'm like, if I sing it one more time, dude, it's not just you feeling that way. So that's our joke. Whenever I see him now, he's like, did you sing Amazing Grace today? I'm like, no, Smarty.
Ricky been shady, huh?
Been shady.
I love it.
Yeah. So those are, yeah. Wow. That is funny to think about. But
yeah. I love that about music because it takes us to so many places and brings us. So for one, right, like you can hear a song and you can attach it to something that was beautiful and then say maybe it got broken. And so there's a bad memory attached to that song because of how that relationship ended with the song. But no matter what it is, even in the recesses of our mind, it can still take us to a beautiful state. Because I mean, you just talked about how the journey with your siblings and how all of you guys together had this bond, but individually you also had your connections that it's, music kind of ties into some of those relationships that we have and the journey that we're on. So I love that.
Yeah, and you saying that, I break it down when I make playlists. I know you're gonna say this is crazy. I even have a playlist that's titled Broken.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, so there are songs that I loved at one time. And like you said, when that relationship, be it a friendship, a partnership, whatever it was, when it was broken, it then moved from that love playlist to the broken playlist. And when I want to be in my broken, oh my God, I can't believe that happened, state of mind, I play that playlist. Yeah, because it takes you somewhere, but it also reminds you, I'm here right in this moment because I love these songs, but I know I don't want to go back here.
Yeah.
So
that's a really neat playlist to create.
It's weird. I have one called It's a Vibe because it puts me in a certain kind of, I have my jazz, I have my neo soul. They're all different labels. And then I have playlists for people.
Oh.
Yeah. I have like a playlist of songs like maybe that me and my sister commonly like. So it's my sister, it's called Sister Songs. And, and it has a picture of me and Tracy. Like it's very, I won't say weird, but that's how I do music.
But I think that's great for us to hear that, because I think people are often forced into listening to music in how it's been prescribed to us. But what you're giving off is actually very powerful, because now we know that we can own and run our music in the way we desire to hear it and feel it.
Yes.
And that's pretty much in essence what I feel like you just gave us right there. I know I have a specific playlist that when I go into the gym and I play it, I'm that obnoxious guy that's doing all of this in the middle of every set, but it keeps me at a 10 where I need to be while I'm lifting, so I'm not drained. Right now, cut the music off and I'm like, oh my Lord, what happened? But in that moment, it keeps me in that high state. So I love that you actually gave that breakdown. So anybody that's out there can actually make the decision to create their playlist.
Create your playlist. I have a spin playlist. So there are certain songs, even during the holidays, I have holiday songs that I know that make me a little sad because they, I'll be home for Christmas. My brother won't be home. Like there's certain songs that take you to a place. So I have that playlist that if I feel like I can handle it, I play. And then if not, I play all my little happy-go-lucky.
Yeah.
Mariah Carey, all the popular stuff you want to hear at Christmas to keep you excited about the holiday, because the holidays are a tough time.
Absolutely.
For me, so yeah. That's how I do my playlist.
That's great. I thank you for sharing that, because it gives me insights on, creating my playlist as well. I'm actually supposed to be creating a playlist for the show based on the episodes, but now this really encourages me to do it, because now I can have a conversation based on the season of my podcast here. You just gave me some great insights. Thank you very much for that. So let's pivot a bit. I want to go to a different song. And what I'm also finding is, based on the songs, I'm feeling different energy and different vibes based on what we're talking about, because we mentioned 2 songs already, and I can already see, this is where like you're lifted here. It kind of takes you into the zone. But here's another song that I want to well, you know what? I'm gonna flip this around. Yeah, I'm gonna do a song. This is something we talked about. And we just mentioned Motownphilly before we started recording. And I got super amped, right? Because I'm a Boyz II Men fan, super huge. But Motownphilly, tell me about that. Why is that a song that really speaks to you?
Man, okay, so my singing group, I told you we were in the singing group, and we got to work with Boyz II Men. We were actually signed.
Wait a minute. Wait, hold up. You worked with who?
Okay. we had the privilege and the honor of getting to like actually do music with Boys to Men. Nate was our manager.
Can I be your best friend?
At one point. Huh?
Can I be your best friend?
Yeah, you're not already?
I'm still competing with the Kesty, Festy.
Festy, yeah, Festy. Sorry, Festy, if you're watching this. No competition, Festy. So that song just brings back that, like, our heyday. That was when I was in my best shape. That's when we were dancing and performing everywhere. And when they came out, it was like, oh my God, this is like an East Coast thing, and this is everything.
Yeah.
That song gets me hyped to this day. Like the old school dances and, just thinking about that time in my life and how exciting it was. We were free to, at a young age to be able to, we moved to New York. We were living our best life, but through music. And that to me as a musician, was just everything. So yeah. And we got to do like a video with them. I don't want people to Google this stuff, but we recorded a song with all of the Biv 10 artists. And so, but
I got to go do my research now.
Boys to Men is in that too. So that whole era was all together. Like that was that time.
Super dope. Yeah, I'm about to be a YouTube Google stalker right now. I'm doing my search.
I have said too much. Tom, look, my girlfriends are gonna call me like, why did you tell people to Google that stuff? Yeah, my mom has a poster. She actually got it framed, and it used to be in the Hard Rock Cafe in Las Vegas. I don't know if it's still there, but our picture with Boys to Men, Biv 10, it was another guy's group. It was a rapper. It was a Tamrock, like a whole lot of us that had gotten signed at that time that we did that song together. They took this big picture and it was everywhere. So my mom has that picture up in her office.
Oh, that's super fly. I'm loving this.
We're like 15 and we're like little fake bangs. We got all this stuff going on in this picture. We look crazy, but we were so excited to do it. So
look. Don't let me find these pictures and video because it is getting out. The TNV family about to see.
Oh God! Listen, I'm so far removed from that. Please no. Remember, funeral singer now. No more Voice to Men. All I sing now
we're not gonna see
hard
you doing...
to say goodbye. It's so hard to say goodbye.
Now I've seen you work out, so I know with the workouts you've been doing lately, you can keep up with most of us. So
I'm trying. That's another playlist, right?
Yeah, right.
That's my beast mode playlist.
Yeah. I have a Hulk out playlist. Oh, I know what you mean. Okay. So wow. So Motownphilly. I was thinking you were just a really big fan of the song and the artist, not knowing that there was more to it.
More history.
That is beautiful because again, so many people have different paths in life that we don't get to see because we see them in one way. I've seen you as a business mogul for so long. I've seen you as a brilliant singer at our events, but little did I know the journey that you had with music. So it's great to see this. And I admire the fact that you were willing to take the steps in those areas of life and say, hey, I want to sing, and you pursued it. And you wanted to change directions, and you did. Because I mean, you've had a varied background with HR and the musical career and our business with Legal Shield. So and not to talk about the fact that you're a Jeep enthusiast. You had some great pictures that you posted on the gram, and I was like, wow, like,
yes,
how is it you don't do any of it wrong? Like you jump into it and it's like dope, right? Yeah. Like you just kill it.
I'm a Jeep girl. Like if you don't give me a Jeep wave when you're riding in your Jeep, I'm like, you don't deserve a Jeep. You better give me my Jeep wave.
I love it.
Yeah.
So is that something that you've just loved for a while, or is it just something that recent years?
Well, I mean, it's recent years. I've always wanted one, but as you get older and you decide, look, I'm going to do it. Why not? and it has the big, huge tire. I have to actually pull myself up to get into my Jeep. I mean, I'm 5 feet tall, but even aside from that, it's the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah, like you have some great photos where like you're laying on the hood, I believe. Yeah, you're laying on the hood. And I'm like, yo, is this a spread for Jeep? Because these shots are like,
listen, if you want to send them into Jeep, absolutely.
look,
we all have Jeeps. Okay.
Look, Jeep, come through. Like I will drive a Jeep. If you will put her stuff on, just come come be a sponsor. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. Yeah. So I haven't even like gone off road really yet. So I'm excited for the weather to break so I can take the top off, the doors. I'm ready. Y'all will see some more pictures soon.
Oh, look, wild out with it. Wild out.
Yes.
Since we talked about Instagram though, so part of why I was truly inspired to pursue you to get on the show, right, is because in the month of February, you did something that, oh my goodness, moved me in such a beautiful and powerful way that I was at a loss of words. I went to your page. It was an image popped up. And it was a side-by-side image, which confused my brain for a second. I was like, wait a minute. I see two people that look kind of alike, but I also know they're not the same person. And it was you honoring Black women every day for the month of February. I mean, blew my mind because not only were the images beautiful, yes, right, and anybody can go take pictures and try to mimic the image, but the education that you tied into those images just blew me away. What inspired you to go the entire month creating these side-by-side images with great write-up to teach us about these powerful Black women of African-American history?
So I just try to always post in the month of February. Yes, we celebrate all year long because I have people who you're always going to have some negative comments and some positive comments, and people, well, we celebrate all year, so I'm like, I completely understand that. However, in our month, I try to always do something positive for, to be educational. And so one year I did different inventions every day for, during the month. And so this year I decided, I saw a picture of, the first one I saw was Harriet Tubman. Mm-hmm. And I was like, you know what? I think I have a shirt like that. Let me see if I can remake this picture. I mean, and when I did it and took this side by side, I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. But I don't want to just put a picture. I want people to understand like who this is, what they did for us. And so I just wrote up a little article and put it underneath and it said, celebrate our Black history. And I posted it. And my niece, Milan, whose opinion that I cherish, said, called me and was like, Auntie, oh my God, your post was so good today. And I was just thinking, oh my gosh, if my niece at the age of 19 was inspired by that, maybe I should do one more. And so I did another one. And then Darnell, my brother, said, oh my gosh, like, what are you doing? How did you even come up with this? And I was like, wait, you liked it too? So I was like, well, I'll do a couple more. And then it just became, the feedback started coming in and it was like, oh my gosh, this is so great. You should do a calendar. You should, So I just decided I had so let's go back. My family every year does lip sync battle and Halloween real big.
Epic.
So I have all the costumes here. So all of this stuff that I was using was like already here. Maybe I ordered like 2 or 3 things, but the little microphones, the wigs, all that stuff was already here. So I was like, I can make this happen. Let me just start taking some pictures. The hardest part was actually not even coming up with the costumes and doing the imagery. It was getting the picture taken by myself, like ring light, timer, getting in the position. So that was more difficult than anything else. But it was very exciting too for me because I learned, I was looking up people I've heard of, but didn't even know what they had contributed. We know names. And so I was like, with someone like a Betty Shabazz, who you're going to get mostly negative stuff, but what does she do to enhance our culture? What does she do to advocate for, Black people? So highlighting those aspects of what these women bring to us still now today that we benefit from.
Yeah.
It just became a thing. And the feedback, I'm in trouble now because I haven't posted it in March. Everybody's like, it's Women's History Month, what about women? I'm like, I got y'all next February.
You tell them just go back and look at all the February stuff.
Right. So, but yeah, so it was just I can't even tell you what sparked it other than wanting to do something for our month again.
Yeah, the imagery, again, it was the what I felt was the spirit in which you did it in, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't a look at me. It didn't feel like a look at me. It was like look at them. Yes, I'm honoring them by mimicking the look, but look at them. And wow. Who was your favorite that you did that was like, wow, learned a lot, but it was also, fun to take the photo?
My favorite photo was Shaka Khan.
I love that one. Oh my gosh, yeah.
And I actually did two with my sister.
Yeah.
So the sister picture.
Yeah.
Was that everybody went nuts over us doing it together. So that was a good one too. But I think education wise, I didn't know about Bessie Coleman and her being the first African-American flight, like stuff that I've heard her name again, but I just didn't know all the things that she had contributed to us even being able to fly. Like, that's crazy, and them being females. Right. Because we always highlight Dr. King. We have our staple highlights. And even though I did Rosa Parks and Harriet Tubman because you have to do them. Yeah. There are so many other people that we don't know that contributed so much, or not even much more to that time period that we just don't know. Yeah. So.
Yeah, because a lot of times
it was a learning experience for me every day too.
Yeah. A lot of folks that I've seen that are really popular are typically not to say that one is less valuable than the other, but easily palatable for those that are not aware. It's like, Oprah, like we love Oprah. We know that she's done a lot and still doing a lot, but sometimes you don't want to talk about the folks that went through the dirty, gritty, tough times of the journey as well. Or for those that we talk about, not talking about the dirty, gritty parts of their journey, because it's not the easy thing to do, right? To go through that. So I love that you went through and shared a lot on each person.
Yeah, and I feel like honoring those people, like you're saying, the reason why we have the Oprahs and the Angela Bassett's are because of everything that these people went through. Yeah. Open those doors. So how can we not honor them first? Right. No, of course we love what these people are able to do now, and we're excited about that, and we're starstruck and all those things. But we wouldn't have any of that if it didn't start back in those days where we couldn't even vote, or where we couldn't do anything. Yeah. So. And not to get political, I don't want to do all that. I'm just saying, like, no, but it was necessary to start and then move forward. So I tried to go back and forth. Here's a new person, here's old person, here's a new person, here's old person. Yeah. So we got both aspects of our journey. Yeah. Because the people that we highlight now are opening doors for the next generation to do even more. So it's, we have to do the whole gambit. So next time I do it, I'll be able to do some of the young, up and coming, the people in the Olympics and who are changing our history and things like that. So
absolutely. I'll tell you one of my favorites that I just as soon as I saw it, I was like, ooh, was astronaut Meg Jamieson, right? As soon as I saw that, because back when in my youthful days, and I was like, ooh, it'd be really cool to go to outer space. And then I saw her, I was like, yo. So for you to represent her and me to even learn a lot more about her from your post was just something that was like, oh man, that was really great to learn, because I knew some of the challenges, and we know there are other astronauts like McNair, but it's one thing to be able to see not just the men, but also the women, and you represented the women with such grace. I mean, each one that you posted up, I wish for everybody that they go to your page and just go through every single day. What you did with your sister as well was really cool to see, the Williams sister and the
Tia and Tamara.
The Maori. Well, yeah. I was like, what do I call them now? But
right, they're still the Maori twins. I'll just say this really quickly because I think this is important to share. So Aisha McGowan was the last person that I did on the 27th, because on the 28th, I highlighted myself. And just talked about how I saw myself in my friends and my family and all of these women, in their struggles and in their successes. But I said that to say Aisha McGowan actually reposted. She saw I tagged her and she saw that I had done the post, and she was like, oh my gosh, thank you for including me. So I'm like going nuts, like, oh my gosh, she put my picture on her page, but what it sparked was, it's so crazy. And when I'm talking about how we are now doing things to highlight the up and coming generation, my cousin sent me a message and said, I saw that you posted Aisha McGowan, my daughter, who my second cousin. My daughter she's my daughter's mentor, and she's one of the first Black female cyclists at her high school. So I'm like, I did not know that. And I would have never known that if I hadn't posted that and been reposted so he could see it. So it just goes to show, like, we're helping people along the way, and we don't have to even say it, because she's not telling people how I mentor these girls and I do these things. But it was just so cool to see, like, oh my God, what a small world. And she's actually working with my family.
It's a beautiful way to see the dots connect. Yes,
connecting the dots, like absolutely. On the self-talk podcast. Plug. So I just thought that was that in itself, doing that made it all worth it to me. I thought that was so cool.
I absolutely enjoy that. I think I sent you a message like, yo, it is so good. Like, I was like, okay, I said it on the post, but everybody else is talking. I need something where it's going to be in your phone. If I ever text you again, you're going to be like, oh, he sent that. So I was so enjoying every single post. So thank you for doing that. And I can't wait for next year already. I know
you're one of the people. You're one of the people who made me say, you know what? Okay. People are looking at this and enjoying it. Let me keep going.
Yeah, well, I'm honored that I play a part in that journey, because again, Milan saw it first, and she saw it before the rest of the world knew it was a possibility. And here you are, you built something that we're all cherishing, and we will for years. And what I see is, in the next few months is when it's being shared by random people that are like, oh my gosh, and images are going viral because they're like, I don't know who this is, but these images really speak to history, but more so to what we have in the future to come ahead. So you know, some beautiful things.
That would be amazing. Thank you.
Yeah. So now I'm going to jump to something else. And I hope this is something we can talk about, but I went to do a search. And again, I did some research, trying to see where we can go with this conversation here. But the question I want to ask you, the song "Straighten Up and Fly Right," does that say anything to you?
You did. Wow, you did your research. Man, so that song, I'm gonna get emotional. That song is like my granddad's song, and that was something that I used to sing to him when I cared for him, because he loved that song, and it was something that even when he wasn't talking as much and things like that, he would always like perk up when I sang that. So yeah, that song. And I actually, when I took a jazz performance class, that was my my final performance. I performed that song and passed the class
Oh.
with that song. Yeah. So, wow. Yeah. Straighten up and fly right. And so whenever I'm doing something, or if I say something that, not that I say things that sound shady, but if I say something that sounds a little off, my mom says, it sounds just like a lie. What's that line? Your story is mighty convincing, but it sounds just like a lie. So she says that to me if I'm saying something that's kind of, maybe not true. So yeah, man. Yeah, that song, that's me and my granddad's song.
Yeah. And for a little context too, you took a few months out of your work time business to focus on, well, let me roll that back a bit too, because you did that on several levels. When your sister and brother-in-law were in the trenches really busy, you took the time out to be there as super auntie to support, so they could be on the road, they could build the businesses as they needed to. So that was something that you did there. But also when your grandfather was ill, you spent a lot of time with him, taken away from your regular business and routine and stuff like that, to make sure that he got the care that he needed. So that's why that song means something, right? Like I want to give people context, because folks can be like, okay, she likes that song, but I also do want to give context to why that song means so much, because of how precious your grandfather was to you.
Yeah. So I was blessed because of Legal Shield to have the time. So I don't like to say take away from my business. It takes away from the building of
Absolutely.
it, but because I had built the business, having the time freedom to, on a daily basis, go and feed him, cut his hair, cut his nails, do the things that my mom could have done on her own, and did do a lot, but shouldn't have to, if that makes sense. And so I was able to, we played, before he got really sick, we would play dominoes, just stuff that, priceless times that I wouldn't have been able to do in corporate America. And that, man, that's a time that meant and means the world to me.
Absolutely.
Having those last years of my granddad, because he when I was a kid, that's who took me to school and picked me up every day after school. That's who made my lunch and helped me with my homework. And so to be able to give back to him what he gave for me my entire childhood, it that gives it more context. Having that time was everything. And I was also blessed to do the same thing with my grandmother. I learned how to give her insulin, just stuff that I was able to do with that time, to be a better daughter, I feel like, to help my mom in that capacity, so she could be at work and not be worried about certain things. And her sisters, who also, we all did things, but I was able to do that every day. And that meant the world to me. We were in a magazine together. They were able to come do an interview of me and my granddad at his nursing home, like just stuff that means everything. And so that song really, it takes me to a place, to say the least. It takes me to a place, for sure.
Needless to say, we know that one's in a playlist somewhere.
Of course.
So I appreciate you sharing that. That's again, in all of my question asking, I knew that's something I wanted to touch on, because again, folks know a certain side of you, and at our events, or even on our calls and our Zooms, you've mentioned, hey, listen, look, this is one of the things I was privileged to do. I was blessed to be able to, but I think us getting to see behind the scenes a little bit on that it's empowering for somebody that's like, how do I continue on this journey to build this business or this life that I want? It's not necessarily for the things that you have, but for the things that you can do and the family that you can bless.
Yes, absolutely. The time, because I feel like it wasn't really a sacrifice for me with my sister and brother-in-law while they were building, because if you see the relationships that I have with my niece and nephews now, that
Epic.
people are like, how are y'all so close? I'm like, those are my kids too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And without that time, which again, it didn't even seem like a sacrifice. It just seemed like, this is my family. This is what we do.
Yeah.
You know, and now I can say, hey, remember how much I kept your kids? Can I get so you know, right. So, and I'm kidding, but that's what you do for family.
Yeah.
If you are blessed to have the time freedom to do that. Some people would want to do it, but can't.
Right.
So for me to be able to do it and to have the desire to do it, it you know, it meshed, and it was a wonderful thing. So
yeah,
I think it has cultivated all the relationships that I have with everyone in my family, to be quite honest.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I feel like I'm a perimeter family member, because at all our events, like I'm always like there. You're like your dad, for instance, I'm a snitch in his eyes, because you know, back when he used to sneak off and, you know, get the hot dogs and the pizza or whatever it was
at midnight.
Yeah.
He'd
just be like,
so I was gonna say, so one of my first, you've been like, we call it security, because you protect us, but you're a family and you watch out for us. So that I have to try to say that the right way to not make you sound, oh, there's security. It's not that, you know what I mean? It's family, and you've always made sure, even me being a little sister, the kind of tag along, you still like, come on, KB, you're in here too, you know, because you're really the self security or whatever, but you're always like, we got you, baby sis. So that's one of my first memories of you, just your servant leadership to, I mean, not just our family, but to the entire Team New Vision, but specifically us, because you're on us.
Right.
Those types of things mean so much when you know that you start in business. You get started for different reasons, money, whatever, but you stay for those relationships.
Absolutely.
You stay for those relationships. And that's why when we say TNV for life, it means something.
Oof,
it's that
to the blood. Yeah.
It's more, some people might hear that and not understand the depth of that comment. You
Absolutely.
know what I mean? So yeah, if you asked me to be on here, how could I say no? As nervous as I was, I'm like, wait, you want me? What? You want to talk about this? What? And
you know, I had to pull one of those, you know.
Well, right. And we've been on here so long. Like I was thinking, I don't know, what am I going to say? What am I going to talk about? He's going to be like, all right, well, we're done here. But then you're mentioning songs. You asked me to think of songs, the songs that you've mentioned. I'm like, holy cow.
Yeah.
Why didn't I think of these songs? Because they mean so much, you know. But it's just funny how it all comes about when you just mention one thing. Like, God, that took me here, and here.
So this is something that I'm gonna leave it at this. Which when I say leave it at this, I'm like a Baptist preacher. I'm about to close 5 times. Baptist preachers, please forgive me. You know, Lord.
Right. Right.
But I have one word for you, right?
Uh-oh.
And then I'm gonna have a filler. But Brandy.
You could have just said love. That's it. That's a simile. Like you. Oh my gosh. So she is. I love Beyonce. Everybody love Beyonce.
Yeah.
However, Brandy is like. And if she saw this, Brandy, if you see this, I love you. Like, Brandy can really do no wrong to me.
Yeah.
Her vocals and her music, every album, like I want to be everything she's done. I'm like sitting up in my room. I mean, and so let me tell you, there's a little bit of history there too.
Yeah.
We worked with, and he passed away, but he was a up and coming producer. His name is Jaffe Tejeda, who when I lived in New York, we got to work with him, and his group was called One Accord. They were recording an album as well, but he was the producer. Yeah. And he wrote a lot of a few of the songs on Brandy's first album. So being able to work with him, you know, I'm like, me and Brandy are sisters, and she doesn't even know. But yeah, Brandy is just everything. And my sister has taken me to see Brandy. That was one of my best concerts.
Yes, tell me about that concert, because I heard that one was a small, intimate
small,
concert.
intimate. We were like right here, and she
Yeah.
sang every song, and it was like the best ever. It was just me and my sister. She got us these VIP tickets and picked us up in a limo. It was just oh my gosh. We've done a lot of shows, but of course Brandy's like,
Yeah.
and it was just amazing. And she didn't have, she doesn't do a whole lot of dancing, but she even had a dancer there that she did some stuff with, but she just sang. She just sang, man. And it was like, do that again. Oh my God, that run, like, oh my God, I love her. Oh yeah, Brandy. If I'm depressed, just come in and say Brandy. I'll be like, huh, what? Play a Brandy song. I'm good.
So it's funny because when the Monica versus Brandy versus was on, right? I kept thinking of you because I'd already learned. So I knew. I was like, so every time she did something, I was like, oh, I know she's wilding out right now.
Like this Monica, we love you, Monica, but come on, go home. You're done here.
you were all the way up. So I was like, so I knew you had to have been. So and that's something I learned a little while. And then it was affirmed again when I was doing some of my research, trying to make sure I had some things to talk about with you here.
Yeah, Brandy is it. And I did love her song with Monica, The Boy's Mine, but
yeah,
man, yeah, Brandy it's funny because it's kind of like a lot of people don't even know how amazing she is because they haven't listened to all of her from start to finish and how she's grown and transitioned in the industry and her taking control of saying what she wanted and just being her authentic music self. Like, she's
another connector because you of course Brandy, but you also work with Boys to Men, and she worked with one of them was somebody Wanye.
Yes.
So that's another connector for you that
yes, one of their best songs.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, Broken Hearted. That is on my Broken playlist.
Oh.
It's on my Brandy playlist, but it's on my Broken playlist too.
Yeah. Well, it is Brandy, so she's allowed to be in multiple.
She's allowed to be on both. Absolutely, because it's like, damn, Brandy, but I love you.
Yeah. So what I love is that like we've literally talked in like 3 or 4 different genres of music or subsections of music. And I didn't even go because again, I know you love gospel and I know you're a huge fan of Kim Burrell. We didn't even go there. I didn't even there's so many places that we could go. Now, yes, you can tell I really wanted to know who I was going to be interacting with and getting. So yeah, so I did my research on you.
I got to sing with Kim Burrell.
Are you serious?
I've done backgrounds for Kim Burrell when she came here. So I was blessed to work with a guy. He's from this area. His name is Philip Carter, and I used to be with Philip Carter and the Sounds of Victory. And so working with him, we recorded a gospel album.
Yeah.
And he works with all the great artists, and so he had Michael White as well. He was actually on one of those projects, and then years later, I started going to Reed Temple, and Michael White was the music minister there. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like celebrities all around this area. Okay. So we had an opportunity through Philip Carter to do background vocals when she came to perform in Washington, D.C. First of all, I could barely breathe being in the room with her, but then she's teaching us these backgrounds like, can you do that again? What? Like, so what an honor. Yeah. So I've been able to do backup singing with Kim Burrell too.
Yo, this is like the dopest experience for me, living vicariously through your experiences. This is so cool.
Yep. So it's, and I mean, and everything's all connected because again, being in the industry, like with Conwood, we got to work with like Puffy. I was on I got to speak on a Jay-Z album. Nobody knows that, but yeah, like so many things that have happened. I'm like, I miss the industry, but I also wouldn't trade how my life and my family has, come to fruition either. So it's like I always say though, that life and that industry, I wonder getting further into that, how I would have fared personally. You
Yeah.
know, I feel like coming home and doing my personal development and living this life was just the best thing for me, but still being able to say I had all these life experiences, you know.
Yeah.
It's such a young age too. So that it's all been a huge blessing and an absolute fun time.
I think that is such beautiful observation of your journey, right? Because if we can't look at our path where we've walked and say, hey, I see where I could have adjusted at where I am now and how I can continue to advance, it's hard for us to advance. And with the journey you're on here, you still get that life of residual income, which is what a lot of people want when they get into the music industry and stuff like that. So you still live that life of the residual income and such. So it's great that you have that, but you still get to cherish the time with your family, because your family, you guys are like some of the closest people I know. Yes. Like you guys do like willingly do stuff together. Like,
oh yeah, we look for stuff to do. Yeah. So no, it has been, I think another way, we call it coping, not being in the industry, still being able to have so many different opportunities and avenues where I still get to sing.
Yeah.
And it could be a funeral, it could be a wedding, it could be the anthem coming up for our convention in front of 15,000 people. So many different things, and you know, still being able to have those things come about and happen for me, still get paid to do it. Like it's all worked out how it was supposed to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that music has played such a beautiful part of your journey and still continues to, because I'm sure you're going to keep churning out some new playlists that that you can continue to enjoy. If you want to share with your boy, I'm down, you know.
I'll share the newest one. Me and my sister did together. We did shower songs. It's strictly for the shower though, because you got to sing.
Hey, listen, then that's for me, because I wail when I'm in the shower, so I just need it to be covered up with the water. So
yep, I'll send it to you.
That is so excellent. It's so excellent. I appreciate your time. I thank you for joining me and opening up and sharing, because you know, I've always admired you. You're just a super dope human being. And I get to steal a little time and tell you you're a festie that, hey, hung out with the
Look, if you talk about festie, do not leave bestie out, okay? I will get in trouble. Do not leave my bestie out. It's both of them.
Absolutely.
Are everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yes. Well, thank you. I mean, this is such an honor to even be considered, and for you to think that my life is interesting at all. So I appreciate the time and being able to speak on my journey just a little bit here today. So thank you.
Indeed. And just for those, I want people, and I'm going to make sure I tag your Instagram handle on the screen so folks can know where to find you on the socials. Oh yeah. Because I want to make sure, but just say it just so that folks know.
Oh, it's KB Graham. So it's KABYGRAM, KB Graham.
Absolutely.
That's me on Instagram, and then I'm just Karen Beverly on Facebook. If anyone's on Facebook, it's just because I do more on Facebook. I know I got to get better on Instagram, but Facebook is just Karen Beverly.
Yeah. So we'll definitely be looking for you. Thank you so much for joining me on the show. And guys, I'm so glad you guys get to hear from one of the people that I just absolutely admire and adore. So yes, thank you for joining me on another episode of Music and Nostalgia. Just know, no matter whatever it is you're going through, no matter what your journey in life is, always remember that the joy is truly in the journey. Thanks for joining me. Remember to subscribe. See you on the next episode.